Welcome back, everybody. Today we will talk about object-oriented programming in JavaScript. That means we will talk about classes. Yeah, we had this VS Code, Visual Studio Code, what we've been working on inside. Here we have quite a lot of files. As usual, let's just create a separate folder and I call it OOP, maybe capital OOP, that means object-oriented programming. Oh yeah. And then inside here, let's create index.html. And I think it has this Django weird. So I have to change it to HTML because I'm working on HTML. And now let's just generate boilerplate for the time being and change this to object-oriented programming. Oriented programming. And of course, I want to also create a file, OOP. Maybe I can just call it oop.js. And this will be responsible for all the classes in the objects we are going to write today. And first, let's link this JavaScript with this HTML file. I think by now you're familiar how to just script, and the script has got this attribute source. And then let's show where that JavaScript is. Oh, great. And now we have to run this on the browser. So let's see here. You click here, I have this go live, or you can just go to the file and double click, it will be opened on the browser you have. I have Google Chrome, I love Google Chrome, and it's here now, it doesn't have anything. So let's open the console. Control-Shift-I allows me to open this console, the Google Chrome console. And now everything we write on this, the OOP file will come here. Great. Let me just remove. So first, let's just write console.log. Welcome. Welcome to OOP. Are you excited to learn object-oriented programming? What's all this? I think it will go away when I refresh it. It's gone already. As you can see, it's connected. That means now we will run a JavaScript. Now, let's talk about object-oriented programming. Oh, okay. Guys, can you tell me an object? I think everything is an object, right? So can you tell me an object? You may maybe think now, a table is an object, a chair is an object, a car is an object, a house is an object, right? A big object. So it seems that everything is an object. Most of the time people give car as in a very good object because car is so easy to describe. We can describe the car property. Maybe it may have a color. Maybe your favorite color of car could be black, or maybe blue-black, or maybe brown. I don't know. And maybe also the gearbox. It could be manual or maybe automatic. I don't know what you prefer, but model. And what else? What can you describe? Maybe quite a lot of, I'm not a car expert, but you can describe different properties of the car. Now we have the car object. And now I'm talking about properties, properties that can describe the car, yeah? So properties. And then, so this now we have introduced different terminologies. The car is an object, object is a new terminology, and properties that can describe the car are the terminologies. Yeah, it's not a big deal, right? So once if we create a car blueprint, we can use that car blueprint to generate many car objects. And now I am talking about class, yeah? So class allow us to create objects. Oh, so this class is actually a kind of a form or a template or a blueprint that allow us to create objects. So how do we create this in JavaScript? It's so easy. We can say class. Class is a reserved word already because whenever we create a function, we say function followed by name of function and then parentheses, and then we use curly bracket and we return something. Yeah. For instance, if the name of the function is do something and it's gonna something, as you can see, this is a function. So whenever we call this function, we have to call it by its name. The name of this function actually do something. So console.log and then do something, right? Yes. So let's do, as you can see, something, do something, whatever that makes you happy. Okay, do something. Now I should see that. Do something, whatever that makes you happy. Great. This function is, yeah, so the role of this function is to return this string. I think by now you're very familiar with functions, and today we're about to start how to write or declare class. So the keyword class followed by the name of the class, name of class. The way I am writing it is a bit different. It's a camel case. It starts with uppercase, as you can see. Yep. And now I may say name, and then if I write here a new class. Okay. As you can now, let me just do console.log and the name of a class. Name of a class, just like this. So what do I get? As you can see, I just got something like this. It just returned the class itself. Can I get the name? Okay. As you can see, name of class has been, yeah, the name is actually, the name attribute gives you this, a note this value, this name. Maybe I think I can call this A. For instance, if I say 5, the name is actually checking what name this class has. So it just, but how can I get this value? I can create an object, const ob, like refers to object, and then this is, I can say new name of the class. We call this creation of an object. We're creating an object by instantiating, by calling the class. Whenever we call a class, there should be new followed by the name of the class, and then we have to pass this like this. Now, if I say console.log object.a, I should get 5. Yeah, I got 5, as you can see. I got 5, great. Yeah, but this is not yet a proper class, and the name should be much better if I change it to a car, right? A car, and now we don't need this also. So now in this, so this is how you instantiate a car, new car. And then let's print this car object, console.log a car. So far as you can see, we're just learning how to declare a class, but we didn't do much. Oh yeah, we just created a car object. We have this constructor, a constructor function, and this constructor function allow us to create a blueprint. For instance, it may have actually a year or a model, maybe I can say what color. Okay, so inside here, inside the constructor, I may have, I want to print, maybe if I show you this, we have in JavaScript this. This refers to this class, color, and then I have to attach it with a color. Really? Now, as you can see, the car object do have these attributes or property color, but maybe we can pass the color blue. Yeah, and you may see blue. Oh, great. I think instead it's better if I put it in the other side, and we will have a chance to see things at one. Okay, maybe how about if I give it also maybe model. The model may be this dot model, maybe 2021. As you can see, oh, it's growing. Okay, now let's add again make. I think they call it make. The make would be Toyota, this dot make, and then Toyota. As you can see, yeah, sorry, instead of Toyota, I could say just make, attaching it. Okay, yeah, so now I can give more. What's the year? And even I made a mistake here. Instead, I should have said just model. Then now I can pass the value 2021, and it's Toyota. Have you seen? We created an object. So this car object, maybe we can call this one the first car, and then the second car will be another. So you just bring this, I mean, copy this, and let's create another new car with a new, so it could be blue, black, or whatever, maybe white. Why not? And could be the model will be this, and maybe Nissan. Yeah. So as you can see, this is the blueprint of the car. This is the blueprint. And using the blueprint, we managed to create different objects. And we call these properties or fields or attributes. As you can see, properties describe something. Yeah, this is the concept of a class. This is how you create a class. And this is how you create an object. Maybe, do you remember, have you ever used this? Const, new, const, date, new, maybe now is much better. Now, new, date. Have you ever used this, Matt?
Yes, I have.
Yes, that means you are actually calling the class of the class, I mean, the date class, and you are creating an object. From now, for instance, we can get the now dot full year, and this method, now the get full year is actually a method. Yeah, I got it. Maybe console.log, now dot the month, get month, and it should give me the month. Yeah, it's the, because it starts from 0, it's the 9th. Actually, it's the 10th, but since it starts from 0, it should give me 9, and it's good. So if you want, you have to add 1 to get the right month. And console.log, if you are interested to get the hours, get hours, and you should get it now, maybe 17, as you can see, I have. Let's see also console.log, now minutes, get minutes, and I should get as you can see, the 9th minute. If I refresh it, it will be the 10th minute, as you can see. Yeah, so this is the built-in class we can instantiate to get timestamp. Yeah, but sometimes also, if you have noticed, we can just use console, and let me show you. Console.log date without creating an object. You can say date.now. There is this now object. Have you seen this time, by the way, guys? Yeah, you can use this. Yeah, but that's it. Sure, you have. So that means actually it has a global, that this class has a global method, a public method that is available for use without initial. How do we do that? For instance, if I have with here a, this is globally available, and if you, so we don't have to instantiate. Globally, in any car, I can get this. Okay, if I say car 2, and if I say A, but if I have to console.log car1.a, this is globally available. And if I say 2, have you seen it? I will be everywhere. I will be everywhere. So I will be available in every object. So as you can see, and as you can see, but can we also access it? A car? Oh. Yeah, actually to get it, we have to, this is an attribute that can be accessed after we instantiate the object. Yes, it's a bit different. Yeah, this is a public, yeah, this is a, what do we call it? Yeah, a public method. But this one is an attribute that we can get it also in any object, but this is actually directly from the class before we instantiate. And let me check from Mozilla Development Network class. Mozilla Development Network. And as you can see, this is, for instance, a class, rectangle, constructor. You have the height and the width, and this is how we attach the properties with the class. Yeah, this is declaration of a class. And as I told you, this is how you create actually an object. And this hoisting, an important difference between function declaration and class declaration is that functions, what's happening with my mouse, but I can read for you until that function declaration are hoisted and class declaration are not. That you first need to declare your class and then access it. Otherwise, code like the following will throw a reference error. Yeah, as you can see, the declaration is later. So you can't do first, you have to declare and make use it later. Yeah, so you don't do that. Okay. No, sorry. Oh, okay, it was stuck. So property methods. We saw that. We will talk about get and setter. And yeah, the static keyword defines a static method or a property for a class. Static members are called without instantiating. Sorry about the global or whatsoever I mentioned before, but it's a static method or static values. So we have to use the word static. If you just now, if I put this static, then I will manage to access it like this. Now I will start accessing it without instantiating it like this. As you can see, I will be available in every object. So this is a static attribute or a static property. It could be also a function, but now I have just this. So you can access it even without instantiating that. So this is actually for day and time. It's a static method. Yeah, that's what I was trying to check or refer. And with the static method, you can do whatever, and it will be available you can access it without instantiating it. Yes. Yeah, I just love this static method. I have to move on to our thing. So now, for instance, if I want to have a method, how do I do methods? Methods, you can just write get. As you can see, this is the first function we have. We have one function outside the constructor. You can write whatever you want. Get info of the car. And then you should write it something like this. Now let's see console.log. I am a function or a method, but we call it a method. I am a method, but firstly, I am a function inside the car class. Now let's access that. So if I go console.log, one of the car1.get info, and I have to call it like this. And it should give me okay. Oh, where is it? I am function. Yeah, it's here already. I'm a function inside the car class. Great. Why do you see this undefined, guys? Why you see undefined? I'm expecting a very good answer. Because I didn't return anything from this function. If you don't return anything from a JavaScript function, the value will be undefined. Great. But if you just do, please return something, then there should be, yeah, please return something. Oh, okay, great. Now, as you can see, you have seen something comes out from this get info. Instead of doing that, let's return something. To access these values, again, we have to use this. I can say, I can use this, the car model is, I can say, I have to inject this, right? But maybe before string interpolation, I can just return one of this dot color maybe. Yeah, I think that blue. Yeah, car1 is blue. Maybe car2 would be, I think, white. Yes. Now maybe if you want to return maybe the model and make, you can say plus for the time being, and then I can say this dot model. white 2021, I mean blue 2021 and white 2020. But this, instead of this, let's just do a better. And I can say the car was made in, I can say this dot model, right? And then the color is, I can say again, string interpolation this dot color, right? And the brand is make. And now I have to say, as you can see now, from this, from the first car one object, the car was made in 2021. The color is blue, the brand is Toyota, and the second car, the car was made in 2020, and the color is white, and the brand is Nissan, right? Oh yeah, this is just the basic of object-oriented programming, but now I prefer to create another class. So you tell me now, I'm about to create a person class, okay? So the name of the class is going to be class, and then, okay, are you familiar with this now? Yes. What is followed? It's followed by constructor. And this is, if your class doesn't have a constructor, then I think it doesn't do anything. So, and the person may have, guys, name, right? I think let's go first, name, last name. Yeah, that's country, and maybe gender, right? And age. But let's start just with little information. At least we have first name, last name, and country. The same way we should do this dot first name. We have to attach this to, and this dot last name, this dot, what was the country, and then country. Yeah. Now let's create people. Yeah. The first person is going to be me, and person, and my first name, and then my last name, and then what you should give, maybe Finland. Yes. So as you can see, the value I put over here is based on the schema or the blueprint. I have first name, put first name, and last name, country, yes, country. And then if you print this object, console, don't do that, console.log and p1, and actually it's going to be, yeah, a very good object. Can we create another object? Let's create John Doe. John Doe gonna be a second person. Oh, don't do that. I can just change this value once, 2, and John and Doe, country, no man's land. He's from no man's land. Yes, as you can see, first name John, last name Doe, and country from no man's land. Great. So you can create many, many objects based on the schema, based on the class you have here. But now let's also create a method, get person info, and this is how it goes. Oh, sorry. Then you may return based on this string interpolation. Maybe full name, we can say this dot first name. The reason why I forgot the $sign. This again, this dot last name. The person, I can say the person is, yeah, he is from, and again dollar, from this dot country, right? So, yeah, now let's get this person's information from where this guy is. Console.log, person one, get info, person info. As you can see, the person is, so we have to have some space in here, the person, and the person is a Sabina, and he is from Finland, and John Doe. Let's do the same for John Doe by just doing the same thing, you know. It's just repetition. The person is John Doe, but how about if we have a girl? What our maker doesn't even know. I will show you how we can change that later. But now, this doesn't really have some way to identify if a person's gender is male or female. Yeah, so let's imagine this the function, but we have also this getter and setters. For instance, if I say get full name, and you can say return this dot first name plus this dot last name. So as you can see, the purpose of the getter, whenever you call, like, for instance, person one, console, I mean, maybe console.log person one or two, person two, get full name. I think I think I should have it get full name. Let me just correct, get full name. Get full name. 56. I should get something. His first name plus.
Is it the parentheses when you call it? Down. Get full name. Parentheses.
Let's say getters shouldn't have that. Okay, it should be just okay. For instance, if you see this, but why did what? I'm just wondering. Let's see our code again. Get full name. Maybe if I have a syntax, a get area, for instance, return this. Okay. And then, yeah, it's.
Yeah, when you declare it, the F of full name is lowercase.
Oh, okay.
Is that maybe?
Yes, yeah, because I made a mistake like this. Get full, this should be like that. Oh yeah, John Doe is here, as you can see. I think you have noticed that if you use getter and you don't need this, you don't have to invoke it. You don't need parentheses, yeah? You don't see parentheses. And another is, we have this setter, set person property. Maybe now, if I want to set some property of this person, I can say this nationality, And I can say Ethiopian. And then if I invoke to the person one, I can say P1 dot set, set nationality. How did I'm making a typo and I'm right, person property. I think I should have set nationality would be a very good name, set nationality, and you can give it some, no, actually this is not how it goes. It should be a bit different even when I'm writing it here. It should be somehow, the data should comes from here, property. I can say nationality, and then it should be like this. Then that will be reusable, right? Nationality. This dot nationality is equal to nationality. Then I can come here, and the weird thing in class, as you can see now, I am passing it as in a parameter and attach this to the class, right? But here, instead of passing like this, we do it like this. Yeah, it's a bit weird, but anyway, so that's how it works. Now, if you go to Asabena, now you may see there is extra object. Have you seen it? Yeah. So what's the purpose of this set? We can actually set or modify or add additional attribute after we create the class. So for this person, we have this additional, but for John Doe, he doesn't have any nationality yet. If we want, we can add for him or not, it depends. Do you have this get and set all the time? It depends. Especially, I rarely use get. I just use proper.
I have a question.
Yes.
About get. What's the difference between a get function and a normal function?
Yeah, okay. So for me, it's hard to know, hard to notice the difference or the relevance of having a gate. For instance, let me show you here. They used a rectangle, and first get area, you have this. This calculates area. And then the get area just returns the calculated area here. And whenever you use this get, you don't have to invoke it. So because of that, I usually avoid, and most people avoid, creating a get because it's just unnecessary method over there. But if you have a plan, like sometimes there might, if you really want to like calculate things inside the object, you may need it, but it has less importance. You use it rarely. But as you can see now, calculating, this is the method, a proper method, and this is the getter. And then after calculating, we called this here. So another way is like to make this the same way as we can say this, for instance, person info. Yeah, I'm now doing this, the person info. What the person info is, it's not, we have this person info. Now, if I say getter, get person info, and then what we are doing is actually return this person. Have you seen it? It's just weird because I don't have to write this, and then I can just return, I can access this. Of course, if you want to hide something, if you want to, after you process some result return, if you want to reduce the information that you show, you can, for instance, do some operation here. Yeah, for instance, if it was array or something else, I can also do some extra processing here in the get info. But for me, I couldn't get the importance that much so far for my use. Yeah. So if you know how to use gate or not, it doesn't add that much of a value. But
okay,
you should know how to create methods. Yeah. Methods are important. So don't be puzzled by the difference between the method and the getter and setter, but just know how to use. So just to avoid complication, let's have just one get info method, and that get info method will just help us to be good at get person info. Is it how I wrote the first time? I don't know. Even I don't need a setter, but it's okay. Let's have that. Now, let's see if everything is working. Yeah, still it works. Yeah. Maybe now does this take a default method? Yes, a default value. For instance, if I pass this like this, but most of the time, whenever we give this default value, so I can start from here, Finland. And if we create another object again, let me create another object. For instance, we call this person from no man's land. It seems it's a land that doesn't exist, and I'm not passing any value. So by now, actually, the object becomes, the object country becomes country, Finland. Yep. Why? Because we have a default country value. So you can also pass these default values. Yeah, now let's go to inheritance. Yeah, inheritance. Guys, have you ever got any inheritance from family member or grandparents or parents whatsoever? Did you?
Yeah, a few things.
That's a very good answer. Many, many things. Skin color, hair color, eye color, so many things at least, right? It shouldn't be only property. So this can be inherited genetically just by being of someone's family. So these are properties that can be inherited. Here in JavaScript, it's so easy to make children. We can just make quite lots of children in short time. It's not as difficult other way of doing or making children. Okay, let's go for it. So that we call that inheritance. So borrowing or inheriting properties from the parent. If you have a class, and if we call it parent, this is the parent class. How do we create the child? We say class, and then the name of the class is going to be hey child, and the child extends its hand to the parent to get properties for cheap properties and methods from the parent. Have you seen? So this just extended. So let's see. Okay, construct. So if I say here, const, hey, child, new child, and it doesn't have anything, and I will show you by console.log. See. Yeah, nothing, of course, but let's give something for the parent. For instance, name. Have you seen? I am putting something in the parent, but the child is just grabbing it. Whatever I have, will be taken by taken or inherited by inherited. Well, how do I write this? Inherited by the children. Have you seen these children? Have you noticed, guys? This was not written in here, but it was written in here, right? Yeah. So the class, I mean, the child is here just to take everything what the parent has. Okay, now let's go constructor, because constructor is really good. If you don't have a constructor, first name, last name, and then I can say country again. And if I say last first name to first name, this last name to last name, this to country to country. Again, have you seen now again? Now this means this will take, for instance, the child, I can give a sub and maybe yeah. So can we have a method? Let's have a method. So I think we have already this class. So as you can see, this is inheriting everything what the parent has. So instead, since I have the person class already here, I can have the child, I can call it a student maybe. Class, student. Let's change this to the person. Yeah. Now let me just do console.log. Maybe I think first we have to const student1, new student. And let's print what this looks like. Console.log s1. Have you seen this? Like this object? And even by default, it got a country, Finland, because the parent says that if there is no country given, it will be Finland. First name, last name, undefined. That's great. Now, okay, maybe we can call this person maybe Robert, the first name, and William, and the last name, and the country is UK or whatsoever. Okay, so as you can see, now we got data. So can we access the information of this person? Console.log s1.get person info. Oh yeah, the person is Robert William. He is from UK. Oh, okay, what the person is? Yeah, it needs T. So as you can see, this doesn't have any code. So what is the purpose of inheritance? To use available code already. Yeah, but as you can see, there's nothing here inside. Then instead, why don't we just call this person? But now we can actually make this like much better than the previous. Okay, by using constructor, and then first name, last name, and country. But now we can even maybe country, and then let's say this dot first name, this dot last name, back, this dot country. What was that? Must call the super. Yeah, so as you can see, it is so smart that unquote reference error must call super constructor in derived class before access this or returning from derived. What it says is actually, yeah, because we wrote this already here. So no need to write it all over again. So what we should do, instead, we have to access the super method. We can say super, and then we can pass the values, and then actually first name, last name, and then country. Then we don't have to use this. Yeah. Now, as you can see, still our method works. The person is Robert William. He's from UK. It works. Can we now, how about if we want to modify, override? If we use this get person now, get person info, I'm now creating this inside this. Let me see. Now it's undefined because I am using it in the child, the same method. But if I just modify it 1, 2, 3, but if you use the same method inside the child, you are overriding it. Yeah, I override it. So now let's also give gender, maybe for this one. Gender is actually now a new, maybe before I can, it's good to have gender before. Gender and skills. I don't need skills there, but gender. So since gender is a new attribute only for student, it doesn't exist there in the parent. So let's attach it here, and this dot gender, and we can say gender. No, not this, just gender. Why? Oh, I'm sorry. I'm writing it inside the, so I should call it here. Gender. Great. Now, what the plan is actually, if the person is male, it should say he. If the male, if it's the female, it should say she. Okay. Now I will just make use of this and now write it here. And then first I have to check the person. So I can say, check gender. I can say, let, what was we call it? Pronoun. Yeah, let pronoun would be, if this dot gender is, is like male, it's going to be he. Else, it's going to be she. Does it make sense? So I'm not going to reuse this value. I can say it constant pronoun. The name, it's going to be pronoun. So pronoun means the gender type, he or she. If this dot gender is male, he, otherwise it's going to be she. The person is this name, he. Now I have to change this to a pronoun. Nice. Pronoun. Okay, now let's create a new object. Let's say this person in the state of Robert, let's call her maybe Martha. And she William UK, and her gender is actually, of course, she is female. And now let's see. The person is Martha Williams. She is from UK. Have you seen that, guys? It's a bit smarter method now. Have you seen that?
Yeah.
And now let's have also maybe for these children, I can say skills. So we have to attach this dot skills, and then I can just start from 0 and even maybe points. Maybe you guys are my student at the very beginning when you join this bootcamp, you don't have any points. Maybe we can add the points later. Let's just have, yeah, these skills. Now, if you call this Marta console.log, S1, Marta, let's see the object Marta, what she does. As you can see, she's from UK and she's Marta, how do you write gender like that? For God's sake. Okay, crazy. So as you can see now, skills empty. So it's good to have a method that adds a skill. Add a skill. Yeah, this method. So we can say add skill. So it should access this dot skills dot push and then the skill. Where the skill comes from, of course, from the user skill. Yep. And maybe it's also good to have a way to see the available skills. We can say get skills, and then we can say return this dot skills. Yeah. Now let's add S1. Add skill. Martha just joined here and she learned HTML the first time. And then again, actually first she learned command lines. And then she also learned Git and GitHub, Git and GitHub, and then she learned HTML and CSS, and let's do this CSS. And now if we try to just console.log, S1 dot what is gate full the skills, skills. I have to invoke it, I have to call it. As you can see, Martha's skill command lines, Git and GitHub, HTML and CSS. Yeah, she's learning, great. And we can give her points if we want. For instance, how do we? Now we have to say this dot points. When she just joined, she do have 0 points. And whenever she learn one skill, for instance, whenever she learn one skill, we give her 10 points. So 1, 2, 3. How many points she should get now? 1.
40. So
let's make a system that do that. Okay, so add points or maybe get points. Get, because the get points do that to get points. There should be first actually set. Now, as you can see now, the set point, I think I found it very important. As you can see, set point, but do I really need this? Nope, I feel that I don't need it. But the get point, as you can see, I can just, what I want to do first, this dot skills, maybe I can just map. You remember map? So what do you do, map now? Item, one of the item. And then I have to do just for each item, I can just return this. And then reduce X, Y, Z. X plus Y. And then as you can see, the return itself even actually giving me now get point. Now console.log s1.get point. I think is it point or points? Yeah, 40 based on your calculation, as you have seen, because now I have 4 items. So did I tell you that map is actually creating equal number of items? I have 4 items and I changed these guys to 10 values. This for 10, this 10, 10, 10. This is what I'm doing. I mapped it. And then after I mapped, I summed all of them together with reduce. And then I got the total. Is it clear? Is it straightforward? We will be learning mapping reduce. Oh yeah, I think this is what you need related to object-oriented programming. So let's do a recap and finish this lesson. Oh yeah, so why you need object-oriented programming? Because sometimes not rewrite the same code to make your code shorter, we may need an object-oriented programming, but most of the time we use functional programming. We use functions, and nowadays it's very trendy to use functions instead of classes. That's something you should know. But it's also good to know how object-oriented programming works. How do we declare class in JavaScript? We have this keyword and then followed by the name of the class. We can say class name. Class name comes here. And then we don't need parentheses. Now we are just declaring a class and the name of the class is class name. And we may have static attributes. You can say a and something. And if you see this a something can be available in every object. Maybe like I can say now, as you can see, this is the class name. How do you instantiate? Const C and new is a must, and class name. Now I'm just instantiating. Instantiating means creating an object from the class. And now if I say console, don't do that, console.log C, yeah, as you can see, I have created an object and the name of the object is class name. And this class name actually is just a constructor. Yeah, so, but the name of the object is actually C. And I can get from C console.log C.a. As you can see, something, some property, some global or public property. But I also showed you some static value. If you use the word static and then followed by some attribute, it could be, for instance, method or value, anything, value. I am a static value and accessible from the class. You don't have to instantiate it. So what does that mean? So you can say console.log from the class itself. The class name is class name dot value. As you can see, I am a static value and accessible from the class. Oh yeah, we learned that. Then what we learned? Constructor. And the constructor is actually the function, the built-in function that allows you to create parameters, blueprints. You can say A, B, C, and then you can say, oh yeah, then maybe this dot A is equal to A, and this dot B is equal to B, this dot C is equal to C. Yeah. And then, for instance, this could be a quadratic equation or something. And then you can have methods that can do lots of activities. But actually we have seen it here in the person. We have the constructor first, and then we attached the properties to the person. This refers to this person. And then we have this get method. The get method and the normal method, it's just almost the same. There's a minor difference. And set, it allows us also to set the properties of the class. And then we learn inheritance. To do an inheritance, for instance, we can say class and followed by the class name. We can say new or child class, and it should extend to maybe any of, like, for instance, class name. And this is, after you do this, then this access all the properties and the methods of the parent. I think this is good enough for today. Thank you so much for watching. I hope now you have a very good understanding of how to declare a class, how to declare a public attribute, how to declare a static, as I showed you somewhere here, a static method. Actually, this is not a method, maybe, just a normal value, but it could be also a static method. For instance, if I want to create a static method, I can say whatever method, I can call it method, or I can call it static method. And this method will be a function, and it can do something. And I can even pass XYZ, XY, and return x squared plus 2 times x times y plus 10. So I just created this method, static method, that can be accessed from here. Let's make use of that, for instance. What is that? C, actually, you can access it class name. Name dot, the name was static method, and then you should pass x and y, 2 and 3. I think based on this calculation, 2 and 3, I have 2 and 3, so 2 square 4, then 2 times 3, it's going to be 6, 6 by 2, 12, 12 and 4, 16, and so it's going to be 26. Right, let's try console. Yeah, 26. So guys, this seems good enough. If you don't have any question, I have to close this. This allows you also to learn React 16, the version before hooks. It's good to know React, yeah. So maybe sometimes when you see, whenever we write class app and extends React dot, don't do that, dot component, and then this. So don't be surprised. Now the name of the class is app, and this is the parent class, and this app is now actually is a child class. And in React, we have this render method, as in a built-in method, and we have to return JSX. For instance, div, and you can say h1, I love React. Now you are good to go. But now since this is not a React project, this might not run. But this is a proper React component, a class-based component. And whenever we want to change this to a functional component, we just change this to const, and maybe I have to remove all this, and we just functional, and then this, and we don't need the render, a built-in method, and it will be just as short as this. And if you don't have lots of things inside also, you don't even need this, the return, you just return explicit return is good enough again. Oh yeah, great guys. Yep, let's stop it in here.